this is a good place for an autumn walk. The perfect place for an autumn walk. I fancied a nice autumn walk today, regardless of the weather, which is just as well because it's raining. The rain's not too bad. It's kind of gentle rain. And I was thinking, do you know what? I really fancy walking through some open spaces south of the river, down in South London. I think it's probably because I did the Norbury Brook walk this time last year. Maybe, I'm not sure. But I did the Capital Ring from here to Streatham about, I don't know, it was about March 2023. God, a year and a half ago. So I thought I would pick up from Crystal Palace, but go the other way, in the opposite direction, down to Grove Park. Whether I'll get to Grove Park or not, I don't know. But it's lovely to start a walk in Crystal Palace Park, which is such a gorgeous park. Let's have a look at the radio aerial. And there it is, the famous Crystal Palace TV mast. Such a great symbol of London, one of the great landmarks of London, not just South London. Hoping to get some really lovely autumn colours today. The Capital Ring is like the kind of kid sibling of the London Loop. It's just 150 miles and it's broken into 24 walks. This is walk 3, and as ever, I'm going in the wrong direction. I have made a dedicated video about Crystal Palace and Crystal Palace Park a few years ago now. So rather than recap all that stuff about the National Sports Centre, the Great Exhibition, the TV mast, the dinosaurs, what else, the famous bands that played at the Bowl, rather than repeat all of that, we'll just crack on with the London Loop. But I do want to come back here to go into the secret tunnels that run. Well, I don't know where they run, but apparently you can get access to them now, so I'm told. Lovely to meet Matt and Laura back there and their lovely dog Frida. Just as I put my cap on, it's the cap, you see, that does it. So it's always lovely to meet people who watch the videos. They had seen the Crystal Palace video I made a few years ago, which is nice to think that people remember the old videos, unless YouTube resurfaced it recently. So we're going to exit the park, we're going to go around the lake, exit the park towards Penge High Street. And I don't think I've ever been to Penge High Street. The Capital Ring is a great way to start your London walking. If you haven't really done a lot of London walking yet, or you're visiting London and you want to get into doing walks into the more sort of like less heralded areas, the Capital Ring is a great way to start. It's broken down into relatively short sections, often about 4 or 5 miles long. And it just goes through great areas, and it's not so far out as the London Loop. It's a great kind of introduction to real London walking. I think this is only my 3rd Capital Ring video, I think, or 4th, 3rd or 4th. I did the one from here to Streatham. I also, a while back, went from Richmond to Horsingden Hill. Amazing walks. But when I talk to people, when they come up to me in the pub or when I have a chat, or if just maybe people that I know that come up to talk to me about walking in London, the Capital Ring is often the one that they've started doing because it's a lot more casual. Particularly if they've not done a lot of walking before. It's not as, you know, the Jeopardy doesn't seem as great as when you're doing a kind of 12-mile section of the London Loop right out on the edge of London somewhere. This is a lot more approachable, if you like. Can you see that dinosaur there on the island? In the undergrowth? I think one of the interesting things I remember hearing or reading about the Crystal Palace dinosaurs is that they were created before some of the skeletons had been fully kind of excavated or discovered by archaeologists. So they were sort of taking a bit of a guess a little bit, I think. So we're basically doing a circuit of the lake before we exit for Penge. Penge. I always thought it sounded like a kind of medical condition. And Crystal Palace Park really is one of London's greatest parks. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Some really beautiful colours as you look back across the lake, across the tree canopy to the TV antenna. Here's one for the railway enthusiasts. This bridge here as we leave the park is either the first railway bridge in London or one of the first, built in 1839. And apparently the first trains that ran along it were drawn by atmospheric traction, which used a vacuum pump to draw the trains along the line. It sounds incredibly innovative. Quite why they thought coal was better, I don't know. And I culled that information from this wonderful little leaflet I picked up about 20 odd years ago in Thornhill Square Library, and I got them for the whole of the Capital Ring, and they're great. I've kept them, and I started using them a few years ago. I have a feeling this section of the Capital Ring would be a really good pub walk. I mean, there's a few around Crystal Palace. Now we've got the Bridge House here. Particularly if you were going in the correct direction, you'd be ending here, wouldn't you? The name Penge is said to be of Celtic or Brythonic origin, meaning wood end. So it's an ancient, deeply ancient place. You can see it, can't you? It would have also been one of the chapters in This Other London. I meant to write about Penge because of its association with the Buddha of Suburbia, one of my favourite London books. And I think isn't this where the main protagonist in the Buddha of Suburbia lives? The wonderful book by Hanif Kureishi. It's great to have some decent signage to follow as well, because as you know, I always need a little bit of help with directions. This is Kingswood Road. Some old school green chain walk signage here. I've done bits of the green chain walk as well. I think it's just a South London thing, the green chain walk. Again, another great walk, not so far from central London. Call this a trigger warning, if you like, for the David Bowie fans. We're about to move into Bowie territory around Cator Park, Beckenham, that kind of thing. I'm not a big Bowie person. I'm going to miss loads of things. So I'm going to say that in advance. If it's not in the leaflet, I won't know it. Wow, look at this building here. What an absolute beauty. This is near Penge East Station, 1887 Holy Trinity. I think it's the Holy Trinity Church. Gorgeous. Penge East Station here. I've really started to grow incredibly kind of fond of South London over, I guess, like particularly over the last couple of years since walking like the Quaggy, the Norbury Brook, the Shuttle. It also goes back, I guess, to my walks across Woolwich Common and that sort of 6 years ago. I've never really lived here, 6 months in New Cross, and that's it, but I can see the appeal. We go across the old iron bridge here, and the rain's starting to come down quite hard again. It ebbs and flows a little bit, but at least it's not cold today. According to my 20-odd-year-old leaflet, the Eurostar trains pass through here, which feels unlikely, right? It'd be quite alarming if you're on the platform. Our next stop is Alexandra Recreation Ground, but look at the wonderful wooded hills in the distance there. I'll try and look up to see what that actually is. Isn't it beautiful though? This is Leonard Road, I think. Well, I'm hoping it's Beckenham Place, because that's where we're heading, so that would be fantastic. This is Alexandra Recreation Ground, named after the wife of Edward VII. I got that from the leaflet, you see. I wouldn't have known that Queen Alexandra was the wife of Edward VII. I would have just known that, actually, I thought she might have even been queen. There you go. Not big on my kings and queens. I have to say, I've been very impressed by the signage so far. I would call this an unnecessary obelisk, which kind of highlights the symbolic power of the obelisk as an object, particularly in the Victorian mindset. This is just a drinking fountain, it doesn't require an obelisk. This club have got an amazing mural. I wonder if they're actually any good at football. I'm sure they're brilliant. Also, it doesn't really matter. They're a junior football club. They should just love playing the game. So we come out of Alexandra Park and turn into Shrewsbury Road. A little trivia question for you. There's one of my favourite YouTubers had an allotment site very close to where I'm stood now. Who was it? We've got about 30 seconds before we get there. I realise now that although I've never actually been to Alexandra Park myself before, I have seen it in an awful lot of YouTube videos. It's a YouTuber who I have made videos with. Actually, how many videos have I made with? Maybe we only made one video together. Oh no. Anyway, he's in 2 YouTube videos. Around here, I'll go and visit his allotment. Slightly off, a bit of a detour, but actually, I don't know if you can get to the allotments. Forgive me, Sean. It's Sean James Cameron, the wonderful Sean James Cameron. He used to live right around here. And over there was his, I think, his most beloved allotment, the what he called the Rusty allotment, after the cat Rusty. Highly recommend Sean's YouTube channel. I watch it all the time. It's been going brilliantly. I mean, he's moved to South Wales. It's a fantastic story, a fantastic journey. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend his channel, particularly if you like gardening, or if you like now, like homesteading. It's perfect for that. This is a really beautiful leafy road, isn't it? Cator Road. This is the autumnal colours I was looking for today. I'm pretty sure Sean sent me a photograph of this a few years ago. I can't remember whether it's either quite a short a stink pipe that slots this top, or the remains of an old Victorian gas light. It's a bit wide for a gas light, so I'm going with stink pipe. So I know there is a little river near here, and we know the rivers were used, or the course of rivers was used for the course of sewage mains. So another great stink pipe / gas lamp, or of course, possibly both. I think there are some stink pipes that had lamps on top, because of course they could use the gases from the sewers to illuminate the lights, which would be very efficient. Classic suburban footpath here, playing fields on one side, houses on the other. The little sign there says London Borough of Beckenham. I believe we're now in the London Borough of Bromley. I think Beckenham's been absorbed by Bromley. Again, one of the many things I could be wrong about. Yeah, this is delightful. So we turn into Kent House Road, which I think has an interesting story attached to it further up the street here as we approach Cator Park. I think Cator Park's a Bowie location, isn't it? Prompt outrage in the comments, I don't know for sure. We appear to be back on Leonard Road, so it looks like we did a big loop round to take in Alexandra Park, which I'm grateful for, right? So I think I somehow, and rather foolishly, missed the site of Kent House, which was in Beckett Walk. I think it was just off Cator Road back there, which is a real shame. And Kent House is said to be, it was a 13th century farmhouse, which was demolished in 1957, which is a crime against heritage, isn't it? And it's said that it was the first house in Kent on the road out of London, which is interesting, isn't it? Because I would have thought Kent started a little bit further in towards, well, just on the other side of the river really, but there you go. We now enter Cator Park, Cator Park, Cator Park. I have actually walked through here with Ian Miller, the wonderful Ian Miller, when we walked along the Ravensbourne, the Beck. I think we were walking the Beck, we walked on the Ravensbourne, the Chaffinch Brook, the pool. I think the Chaffinch Brook and the Beck conjoin to form the pool here, and the Ravensbourne branches off. I can't quite remember, but we will see it up here quite soon. This was once upon a time the Kent House Pleasure Gardens. This is a fine copse of pine trees here, very tall pine trees. Anyone know what they are? They look great, don't they? Sort of remind me of the kind of thing that you would find in California maybe, but am I confusing it with something else? This is the beautiful little Chaffinch Brook. And this is the Beck. As I mentioned, I had a wonderful day walking the Beck, you know, from the Ravensbourne at the Thames all the way back to the source of the Beck with a wonderful Ian Miller. I'll link to that below. That's a while ago now, it's a good 7 or 8 years ago. So we come out of Cator Park and we go to Kings Hall Road, heading towards Beckenham Place Park. I came out today looking for a leafy autumnal walk, and I certainly found it. A lovely relaxing autumn London walk. This is beautiful. Look at this down here. It wouldn't be a proper kind of London walk if you didn't have at least one station subway. Here we go under New Beckenham Station. Apparently, New Beckenham Station dates from 1904. So I'm not sure whether to believe this is a, well, all street names are made up, you know what I mean? This is called Coper's Cope Road. Coper's Cope Road. I have to look that up later. It doesn't even mention the story in the Capital Ring leaflet. It's got to be good. We now go into the beautiful Leafy Brackley Road. I really fancy a cup of tea, but I don't really fancy my chances. It's massively residential, isn't it? What a beautifully leafy part of London. I know I just said it a couple of streets ago, but I'm not sure I could have chosen a leafier area in terms of residential streets. It's incredible. Now we turn into Worsley Bridge Road. Probably pronounced that incorrectly. And we've got Crystal Palace's training ground down here somewhere. Let's keep our eyes peeled, can't miss that. Well, I never. Here's the county ground, Kent County Cricket Club. I thought Kent County Cricket Club were based at Canterbury, but I guess they've got a little a London branch as well, I suppose. Now we go up Stumps Hill Lane. Another great name. It's really giving on the names, isn't it, this walk of the Capital Ring. I think this is the remains of what would have been a stink pipe, like the ones we saw in Cator Road. South End Road, and then we turn into Beckenham Place Park, which I think is where I'm going to end the walk. I'm pretty tired and my knees starting to play up a little bit. So we turn off Beckenham Hill Road into Beckenham Place Park, and I think this is that wooded hill or wooded ridge that we could see much earlier on in the walk. Wow. The ever brilliant local information boards, the unsung heroes of London history, people that write these boards, and it tells us that Beckenham Place Park is the largest park in southeast London at around 1 square kilometre, which is amazing. It was originally built as parkland for John Cator's mansion, which was built in 1762. I could hear throbbing music, and I thought, what is that? That would appear to be the circus, wouldn't it? There's a big top. I love the circus. I studied clown once upon a time, not that type of clown, theatrical clown, but even so, there's a sense of magic in the circus. Well, that really is a grand sight, isn't it? That must be Beckenham Place, John Cator's mansion. According to the map, it tells us that the portico was moved from a house in Blackheath. Is a truly grand view from up here, looking out of London into Surrey. Wow, towards Shirley, Biggin Hill, all that. London Loop country. What a stunning view from the back of the house here. Out of shot, my hat keeps blowing off my head. It's incredibly windy up here now. But what a glorious end to this perfect autumn walk. I was looking for a beautiful leafy autumn walk and I got it in absolute spades. So thank you for joining me on that walk, that autumn stroll on the Capital Ring, which has been an absolute joy to behold. I'm going to go to Beckenham Station now. I'm ending it here. There is a little bit left to do, but I don't want to take my knee for granted. It's been a little bit sore and I'm still recovering with it. So I'm still getting it back up to full strength. It's going to take a little while, I think, but it's doing well. It's doing well. I've done about 8 miles today, or 7.5. It'll be 8 by the time I get to Beckenham Junction Station. So thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon, on the YouTube members here. I share little previews of upcoming videos, and I do little BTS chats, go through what I'm thinking, what I'm working on. And yeah, so as I always like to say, I look forward to seeing the next walk wherever that may be.
It's over the meadow, over the stream, it's where I am going and where I have been. It's been a long day now, it's time for a beer, and now for home, of course I must steer. It's over the meadow, over the stream, I hope you are pleased with what you have seen.